Hello and welcome to TV News and Inside Look. This documentary is designed to take you behind the scenes of this amazing business, to gain insightful information from professionals who have worked in this industry from 1 to 60 years. In total, the journalists you'll meet have over 300 years of experience and ready to reveal their secrets to you. Now remember, each of them started where you are right now. So listen carefully, take notes. This is TV News, an inside look.
Robert Hughes. All right, let's bring the camera here.
Oh my god, oh jeez.
You gotta zoom out for the hair. Zoom out for the hair.
Zoom out for the
Can you
get the whole
Can you get this? Like honestly, let's show the side angle of Bob's big boy over here. Like look at this thing. Like, how do you?
I just got a
how do you
haircut. I just
get
got a
this?
haircut,
Like,
and I try to get it. You know, I try to say let's cut
can
it
you
short,
get
but not
that
too
trajectory on your own?
short.
Tell me how you do it.
All right, here's what you do. We should probably talk about this later.
Okay. So this morning I got on the phone with APS, talked to them. They gave me the APS report. We have several blackouts throughout the region, and she said something that kind of like I think would be a great thought. She said that the APS weathered. I guess they looked at the storm coming in, and they were like getting their crews prepped, as opposed to Phoenix. When Phoenix got hit, they weren't exactly prepared. So they said that Phoenix looked like a war zone.
Hey Vic, you and Rob are going to be on storm damage. Storm damage, yeah, sorry. He's doing the 5:30, so time is of the essence for you guys.
This is a lot of fun. I wish I could tell you we're going out on a murder, we're going out on a chasing a tornado or something like that. We're not. We're just go figure, Pat. You show up the day where we had the biggest storm I've ever seen here. So there was a little bit of damage, and we're just going right now to APS, which is the company that services the state for electricity. Like when you live in Arizona, you get your electricity bill from APS.
Today we're going into Mexico to do a story on the election, the presidential election. So every day's a little different, and it's fun, and it beats being in an office, really.
So Vic and our mentality right now is that this could be the biggest story in the entire world right now, and we bring professionalism to it. We are going to do our very, very best job. We're not going to I know we can't curse here. We're not going to give it just go half throttle on this.
As journalists, we have to find a reason or tell the story in a way that our viewers are going to care about it. That's our responsibility, to get the story across. It's like I got to make it interesting enough so that the average person at home will want to listen to it, as opposed to reach for the remote control and go through someone else.
One of the other luxuries of Yuma is we have no air conditioning right now, and it's about 120 degrees.
Our story today is going to have to be interesting enough to get people to pay attention to the election, and that they can drink in Mexico now on the weekend. It sounds shallow, but that's kind of like what our viewers are going to care about. Can I still go down there and drink even though it's a election weekend?
Educate, inform, inspire the masses, to give a voice to the voiceless, to hold the powerful accountable. Those are the reasons why you should get into it.
You know, a lot of people say, well, are you just like just bringing gossip or, but I think it's important to keep society informed. And a lot of times change comes about because of stories that we do. I know some people say that, advocacy journalism is not good, but a lot of times you need to point out what's wrong with what we're doing, what our politicians are doing. Think about it. If it hadn't been for the Union Tribune, we might have never known about Cunningham and all the stuff that he was doing. Same thing with Watergate, It's just the media sometimes starts to create waves, and a lot of people don't like it, but I think we're part of the check and balances system in this country.
I went to a school to where it was $50,000 a year, and to be completely honest, because I believe in integrity and honesty, so I'm making $8 an hour. I'd make more money working at In-N-Out right over here in the mall. And and that's why right?
Then why are you doing it?
It's true, man. You do it because you love it. I've been doing this just like most people who do this. I did my high school morning announcements, and at Palomar College I did our fall sports show and took all the radio and television courses. And I just fell in love with it because I believe everybody has a talent. Not everybody knows their talent. A lot of people maybe know it, but they don't pursue it. And Vic and I talk a lot about this. everybody has a talent. They have a potential. Some people realize it, some don't. Some don't do anything with it. Most don't do anything with it. And me doing television it's something I've always loved to do.
So I don't think we're liberal or we slant to the left. I firmly believe we're just kind of open-minded, and we really consider all points of view. And they're as valuable. Anybody's opinion means as much as everybody else's. I think that's the way I look at it.
But should you even have an opinion? Should you not be left or right? But
Well, you don't have an opinion. You're a human being. You're going to have an opinion. What I think you're saying is you need to go in there without promoting your opinion, and that's the job. The job is to give different perspectives. If you do the story properly, then you should have one guy saying A and one guy saying B, and you present both of those and let the viewer decide. That's the job.
A lot of other careers, you'll make a lot of money a lot quicker.
Excuse me, I'm sorry. I'm trying not to run over somebody right now. We feel that's also important in the television news gathering business.
It should just bite your lip. You bite your lip and you say, this guy's an idiot, but you still give him a forum.
He's got his perspective.
Because they're entitled to their opinion. And I mean, it's hard sometimes. And there are times where you say, you know what, I just can't do the story. I'm sorry. For one reason or another, I can't tell the story, and I'm mad at the world today, and I can't do it. And most of the time, in fact, all the time, your bosses will recognize that, and they'll put you on something else.
I have friends who are working in consulting firms, or they're accountants or CPAs, or they're going to law school, which they're paying a lot of money right now. But this is a career where it's going to take a while to make good money, and in my opinion, it's worth it, because this isn't even like a job. Like Vic and I were talking about it earlier. I mean, this is fun, I think.
I think people, when you meet somebody and they're like, you get the sense that, who is this guy? You're trying to interview somebody, and the public is like, this guy's all full of himself, and that doesn't help. And I think people appreciate when you're down to earth, and you're just like everybody else. If people think they're better than others, it's right away there's some animosity, I think, that erupts and evolves. When people are more down to earth and then just like, hey, let's just talk, and I think people appreciate that, and they open up, and they are much better interviews when people have the sense that you're just anybody else, and you just happen to have a microphone in your hand and the other guy has a camera on his or her shoulder.
What's going to be the payoff?
The payoff is someday I will not have trouble paying my bills, but it's never been about the money. It'll be the fact that I'm able to take all the hard work, all the skills, the fact that I started making $8 an hour cleaning up a dog's crap at a station that wasn't in my contract, and I'll be able to do what I love and doing it for the right reasons.
Again, money, status, celebrity, that is not the right reason to do this. It's not, because it's gonna get old. You're not gonna like it. You're not gonna get what you want when you have to start working in Pocatello, Idaho. You're not. Trust me, you're gonna hate it. You're gonna be earning, 15, 20 grand tops. You're sharing a room with somebody you may not really like, and the novelty wears off really fast.
You have to really know what's going on in the world. You have to read, even if, like David, even our sports people know what's going on outside of the sports world. You have to know about politics, business, economics, what's going on locally, internationally. And by staying involved and up to date with what's going on in the world, it really helps you to find stories, because you can take a national story or international story and localize it. Because when all is said and done, I mean, we really want to beat our rival in local news.
It's funny, we joke about this sometimes, but when you do it for a while, it's like we don't know how to do anything else, really. And it's often scary to go out into the real world. And a lot of us are always getting kind of invitations, or we're being asked to maybe try like the public relations world, media relations, public information officers. And so it seems like that's about all we can do in life. So it's often scary, where I like my job, it's frustrating at times, I want to move on, but then it's like, what am I gonna do? It's like, what are we trying to do? Just tell little stories and I mean, in the real world, I mean, how far does that go? It's like, hey, I could tell you a story about a murder in a minute 30. You know, I don't know how good that looks in a resume out in the real world, I guess. I don't know.
And we are lost. Yeah, where is it, dude? We're on Araby. We went from one end to the other.
Have you been here before? Yes.
Nope.
Now? Okay, could we... Okay, we are on... Where are we right now?
We're on 16th and Araby.
16th and Araby right now, and we couldn't find that booth.
We're on the wrong direction.
Okay. Do you want to talk to her because you're driving here?
I'll just ask her, like, if I'm going...
Yeah, she's pissed.
You know, we do have it easier compared to other people who really work for a living, like guys who are digging ditches or tarring a roof or something. That's hard work. A police officer wearing his dark uniform with a bulletproof vest, you know, that's hard work.
Yes. Yeah, we got a little lost. Good night. Yeah, we've never been there before, sorry. We're both pretty new. Turn around.
Turn around?
Yeah. Okay. 24th and 32nd Street. Get on it, then head east.
24th and
Then head
32nd
east.
Street?
Do you want to talk to her?
Sure. Yeah.
See, this is
Hello.
what is really frustrating.
Hi, this is Victor.
The lady we're
Do
trying to
you want
talk
me to get on? Yeah, I'm on
Some lady
Araby right
from
now.
Phoenix been waiting for like
You want
half
me to
an
get
hour,
on?
and this is when the tensions
I am
start to
on.
build.
I'm on 24th Street Extension,
And it's
heading,
hot.
I believe, south.
People in news tend to have weird senses of humor. We always try to find funny things, even in the most horrific situations, because it kind of keeps us going.
And you have to desensitize to certain
Yeah,
things.
you have to. And so a lot of stuff, if you're going to be in a newsroom, just be aware that you're going to hear some stuff that may be a little bit over the line, but it's all in good fun, and it's just, we don't mean anything by it. And so just another thing that I think people need to know, because a lot of times interns will come into our newsroom and they'll hear us joking about stuff, and they're like, oh man, these people are, weird, or they're bad people. It's kind of like a way to blow things off. It's almost therapy to laugh at stuff.
Oh, okay. Oh, you know what? I see you guys. I'm sorry.
Oh, yes.
Okay, I see you guys now. Thank you. Yeah, I do. I took the other road. That's why it's behind you. Okay, sorry about that. All right, bye-bye.
Okay, so being a communication major in college, she's gonna be pissed. She's gonna be unhappy. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go out, smile at her, look her in the eyes, shake her hand, say I'm so sorry we got lost, and diffuse that anger. That's what we do. So we want her to be calm and relaxed when she gives us some good stuff.
There's things you see that you don't want to remember. I mean, the worst stories are the ones where kids get hurt. That's the ones that get me. I have a real hard time with that, and so you can't dwell on it, because how do you go on? So like you say, you right here,
Not in the next one, right?
that you got to make a joke, not maybe of that, but of maybe something else. You have to move on, I guess. So any way you can do it. Otherwise, that's one way of burning yourself out.
I kind of figure I
You
think we're in
guys,
the
I'm
wrong place.
telling you, I don't know whether I'm gonna put you on my team or not.
Okay,
Huh?
fair enough.
You can't even find, what do you know where this place is?
You
know.
I haven't been
Yes,
here.
you
Last time I
know.
talked to you, it was over at the Civic Center.
Okay, you guys stand back, because I'm all hurting. Now, you know where this place is.
I haven't been here.
Rob Hughes.
Rob.
This is Patty's filming a documentary on TV News. He's from
Hi.
San
So I get the
This is the best documentary you've ever seen. They're trying to do breaking news and they can't even find it. God almighty, come on in.
All right. Okay. Sorry.
Okay, I was gonna offer you guys something to drink, but I don't think I am now.
We lost that privilege. I'm sorry. Okay.
I love it.
Sometimes you can kind of talk your way into an interview, basically. You know, like just say, like what Salvador says, what do you want to say? What, you know, you're in this situation, what do you want people to know about this? You know, what do they need to know about this? There's certain questions that, you know, I try and use standards, you know, not so much in an emotional thing like somebody's loved one has died, but I mean in other stories I always try and ask, you know, why is this important? Why is this important to Joe Blow in Chula Vista?
And what did you say?
I'm really kind of concerned.
Trying to
because
make
we
sure
didn't
that,
have
because
the
I'm
front
off to the
doors
side a
secured.
little bit, I
It
want
was
to make
all
sure
of
that I
this
can
area.
not get a
Just
profile
really
type
kind of
shot.
Concerned. Should I be?
Your job
Have
is
I
to make
done
them look
something to
good.
offend you?
Yep,
I am either
that's
the first
basically it.
line of sacrifice or the first
Do the
line
best
of
I can with
defense
the
here.
equipment that I
And it's
have.
like, oh my God.
Yeah.
So when you talk about the
Another thing too is don't ever ask yes or no questions unless you want yes or no answers. Especially with kids. You try to interview a kid, you're gonna drive yourself nuts. You go, hey Johnny, did you like the plane flying overhead? Yes. You know, you gotta say, what did you like about that plane? What made it cool? What was the best part about it, Johnny? And then that's how you. It also almost works with people too. It's like if you say, man, are you upset that the officers aren't getting a pay raise? Yes, I'm upset. You should say, isn't it don't you think it's a disgrace that the officers aren't getting their money's worth? I mean, what do you think? I mean, what would you tell the mayor? You know, and that's how you get more answers and more people to open up and stuff. And you also have to show some emotion when you're asking questions sometimes. A lot of folks, especially at the beginning, right after questions. And look, I mean, you're not Larry King. Just have a conversation with somebody and you go, hey, tell me about those cops. I mean, what's up? What do you like about them? How do they protect you? How do they make you feel safe?
You guys work often together?
Yeah. Whenever we go out, whenever we go out together, it's really important that that there's a photographer-reporter communication. A lot of times, photographers tend to already gear their mindset towards whatever it is that they're working on, which is what I'm doing now. I'm trying to think of my story and think of it in terms of whatever my interview says. I have to imagine that I have to cover the entire thing up.
So I think I have a sense of what he's looking for. But if you want something and then you get back to the station and you go, why didn't you get this shot? I can't read your mind. And that has happened, and again, next day you might ask for somebody else.
It's always important to really communicate with your photographer, because I'll be thinking of the script, I'll be thinking of the way I'm going to write it, and you need video to show that. And you need what they call natural sound. And that's how the way most good packages starts, with some type of natural sound, so it pulls the viewer into whatever it is you're going to be talking about.
Just talk a little bit, get them to calm down a little bit before you really get started, and then ease in. Just talk a little bit. My biggest piece of advice: tell them that you are having a conversation. Ignore this piece of advice. Tell them that you are having a conversation.
I agree totally. In fact, the gentleman we interviewed, I asked him about, hey, how you doing with the weather? And he just started talking, and then I asked him one question, and he went on for several minutes. And that doesn't always happen, because sometimes people see the camera and they freeze. They can be awesome without the camera. They're giving you all this info, great sound bites, and you're like, man, I gotta have this person there giving a story. The minute you point that camera at them or have that microphone inches away from them, they get tense, and it doesn't flow as well as you want it to. So, but I mean, and it just sometimes you don't even have to ask a question, and people just go off. And but those instances are few and far between. So sometimes you really have to coax people. And again, I always say the first couple of questions are throwaway questions, just to get them comfortable with the camera and the process and the conversation. Then you can start to slowly get into what you really want to talk about. You know, you talk about teamwork, and it's not fair for him to carry all this gear. But you'd be surprised how many superstars
Really?
are too good to carry a tripod.
No, really?
Yeah.
Like in Groundhog Day?
Yeah, too good, and it just, or it just doesn't go with their outfit. For whatever reason, they don't want to help. And to me, it's infuriating. And it's not, you gotta do your part. And it's just, you learn to put things away and move on with your day back. I think.
Mike, how does that affect you if you got a reporter who just thinks they're God and aren't going to help you out?
I can deal with it. To be perfectly honest with you, just make the offer. Especially if it's like a a girl or something like that, if you make the offer 9 times out of 10, I'll say thank you for the offer and I'll carry it. But when you don't even make the offer,
Yeah, what if they're just jerks? I mean, how does that affect? Do you? Well, I mean, I don't want you on camera saying this, but
everybody's different in the way they handle it. Myself, I can't change that. We're gonna work, and I'm gonna do. Everybody's gonna have. I have bad days. You know, everyone's gonna have a bad day. It's just the way it goes.
Sure.
I'm gonna try and get along as best I can with everybody. It's not gonna be every day gonna be perfect, and you just, you do the best you can.
But if someone's a prima donna, and they are, I mean, every day they're that way, are you gonna go the extra mile for them?
Personally, I'm always going to go the extra mile because I want to put the best product out. I know that sounds really stupid, and I'm not toting a line. I take pride in my work. I take pride in what we put on the air. I'm always going to do my best no matter what. That's the way it is.
Okay.
But I might ask for somebody else the next day.
Now, tell me about the story. You're going to have a city official, you got the other official.
We got, yeah.
But are you going to have any real people?
That's the way to make a story. And that's what we need. Is ideally we want to talk to somebody who's affected by this.
Yeah, and we will when we go and get shots of the B-roll of the dry ice thing.
Yeah.
That they're giving out like at 12 o'clock.
Yeah.
So they're just starting now.
So yeah, to answer your question, yeah, we're gonna try and get somebody who's gonna get the free ice and the dry ice and the free water, and that's gonna start right now. But we need to talk to one other official so we don't just have the same person the whole story that's talking.
If we're in an area where it's kind of iffy, and I mean, I gotta be right on him and kind of keeping an eye, and especially like homeless people are very, not just a little weird, but they're unpredictable. So sometimes you gotta stay close and physically be a shield between the cameraman, the camera, and that other person. So that's also part of the job too. That you gotta keep an eye on stuff. You gotta be aware of your surroundings. And there are a lot of people out there who don't like the media. Don't be surprised if they throw a rock at you or something. Or there's always there's been not necessarily physical confrontations, but sometimes people start talking and saying stuff, and it's irritating, upsetting, and sometimes, you want to lash back, and you got to hold on. You got to say, hey, you got to keep a clear mind, and just, but I'm telling you, there's people who just don't like what we do, and we're the source of all evil in this world.
Some wackos out there, man. No, that's true as well. He watches my back, I watch his back too. So, it's the funny thing is, you actually start developing a radar. I had a situation that was a murder-suicide, sadly enough. I was in a trailer park, and so I was trying to get to the shot. That's not the easiest part of all. And the people were not happy to see me. They felt like I was an invasion of their privacy, and they were upset. This is a neighbor that's killed somebody, then killed themselves, and so they were very upset. Anyway, so I was trying to get my shot, and all of us, I was shooting, it was at night, and all of a sudden I just felt something's wrong. I turned around, and 3 guys are coming at me. I'm like, okay, I just turned the camera off, put it all down, put it in the car, and drove around the block to the other side and shot it from that side. But you get a radar. You want to start developing a radar.
I know they're going to end up with the same story that we got. So it's really a matter of how am I going to shape this thing so that when both stories air on different stations, mine looks better.
When you're running and gunning, it can be a really exciting job. It also can be a really dangerous job. What's the one thing that they say is like in a situation where everybody else is running away, you're running right at it. When everyone else is running away from the fire, we're running towards it. When everyone else is running away from the gunshots, we're running towards it. And as I get older, I get a little bit smarter, but I still look back on some things and go, I've done some dumb things. I went chasing the fire 2 years ago and went down a dirt track, with nowhere to turn around, looking for a fire. Well, that's pretty stupid, because the fire's going to go faster than I can go. I mean, thankfully it was the week after I got that Explorer. Before that I was in an Impala, so I was literally doing 40 miles an hour in reverse down that track. Literally. That's not smart, because you know what? They're not going to pay me extra to get the good shot. And my kids, they're not going to get paid anything when I'm not around. So you get caught up in it. As much as I know, rationally I shouldn't do that, I do it. You want the good shot. You want to be the hero. The hero is the guy that gets the best shot,
We didn't even get the interview. The tape there. We got an interview. We get there.
Yeah. I don't know.
So I guess we gotta go back.
I'm hoping it didn't just do it to the Dave thing, but it kept on, like the servo light came on, and then it went off, and it stayed off.
Give them
And
the
then I white balanced.
Someone had a light show last night, didn't they?
No clue, man.
The phone's missing.
Hold on. I just want to make sure this is there.
Gabby.
I'm hoping it wasn't the camera, it was just a bad tape.
She's got to write her backwards.
Good. Cool, where's the gear at?
I think he saw the vehicle and he was wondering what we were doing, and so I just came up and I talked to him, and then he said, "Oh yeah, I watch the news, and you guys are welcome to stay." Generally, police officers, universally, are very nice people and very cordial, and even here, I know police officers down here have a bad reputation, and some of it is warranted. Yeah, sometimes they take bribes and stuff, but they have a tough job, and I think overall we get along really well with police on both sides of the border, and they know that they need us as much as we need them.
But one of the other ways that you can really get an edge up on your competition is to get to know your city, go to events, meet people. This is what I do off the clock. I do a lot of public speaking engagements. I do PR events. I get out there, talk to people, and that's where you find the best stories. And also, Carissa, for example, one of our other reporters, has a really good relationship with the police, the sheriffs, and when they pick up that phone, they can call. They choose who to call first. We want them to call us first.
The other thing was just going back to the cops. I have so much more respect now for police officers since I've done this, and I deal with them, basically on a daily basis. I just think, when the more that you see them, the more that you see what they do, the more respect you garner for them.
Well, the interview with you is amazing. The only problem is the tape died on us, like it broke. Yeah, so we got lost, and then we lost the interview too. So it's been one of those days. So yeah, go figure. So what's that?
They use the transport.
GPS?
Why don't you come back?
The power? I don't.
Okay, come on back.
My service? I pay my bill. I wouldn't blame you. You're gonna cut me off.
I mean, we got lucky. And like anything else, sometimes it's better to be lucky than good. And this will just add to the story. And the more video you have, the better your piece will be. And it'll give, people at home will sit back and they see the beer coming out of the truck or in the store, and they can almost just feel it. They can almost know what's going on.
I like the shot with them throwing them into each other. That was really good.
That's good. That's good. So
Okay, here's one other quick one for you. That was a piece of advice that was given to me a long time ago. When you think you're done shooting, turn around. Look at what's going on behind you. 9 times out of 10, it's better than what you shot in front of yourself.
I just got a sound of someone who lost power and
Great sound. That sound might be that metal door
slamming down.
slamming down. Yeah, coming up either one. And is it okay to ask him to do that? Or should you capture things as it's being done?
You want to catch it as it happens. You want to catch it. If you did it 3-4 times and maybe you just didn't get in position quickly enough, since he did do it, you can say, hey, can you just do that for me, and you do it. If it's something that he wasn't going to do, but you think it'd be a cool shot, and you go, hey, can you open the door and pop it down? That's not right. But if it's something that you were shooting and maybe didn't quite get it right, and he did it several times anyway, then it did happen. It's something that did take place. It's not something that you made him do. I think that's kind of the unwritten rule.
I said, hey, how did you react when the power was about to go out? And she gave me a really good thing, a good statement. She was saying, oh, my husband saw it flicker, and he said, get the candles and get the kids, and she was all like stressed out, trying to get the kids all in one room and stuff so that they're all together. And that's really, and that's our typical viewers when something like that happens. They're not really thinking about, oh man, shit, I can't watch the news.
Yeah.
When something like that happens, they're thinking of their families. and that's something that we want to show. You know, that's the common interest.
You can't go into something on your own agenda. You need to be looking at things impartially, and part of that is to put yourself in somebody else's shoes. You're right about that.
And as you mentioned before, you always want to try and get people, because people make the news, not necessarily officials. Officials meaning public officials, police, fire, whoever our spokesmen or PIOs, public information officers. But they choose who they want to talk to, what they want to say, and if we don't make them look bad, they will make us look bad, meaning they won't talk to us.
I don't really look at framing so much as I look at emotions. You know, some people have very interesting faces. The type of faces that you could tell a lot just by looking at their eyes. And so for those type of people, I usually tend to get tighter shots. Some people, like we talked to Donna a little earlier and stuff, and Donna likes to lean in and out. And so as a photographer, you know, I have to know my subject well enough to frame her well, so that I'm not moving my shot around like that, and I kind of keep her in a sense set up in a sort of cage, so to speak. I don't really like to use the word frame, because frame insinuates like a still shot, but when I keep her in this little cage, or I guess it is a frame, but when I keep her in frame, you know, I got to make sure that she has enough room to be herself, and so that our viewers, when they see her, it conveys the truth of what she's saying.
You're gonna have to do your stand-up because you can't come back here and do it. How do you prepare? What's your technique of stand-ups?
Technique is don't memorize it and try to help the story along. I don't always do stand-ups. Yesterday I didn't do a stand-up. The day before I didn't do a stand-up. It's like I do stand-ups to take me from one part of my story to the next. So we'll be talking about the elections, and now we're going to say, well, you know what, it used to be that the weekends of elections you couldn't drink. When then we said that law is gone. You can have a drink if you want. And then we'll go to the interview we just did with Mr. Alvarez, and he's going to tell us about how the law was just old, and it came about in the late 30s, early 40s, and so it was a law that was obsolete. So that's how. So I'm going from the election to the drinking part, which is the part that most people in the U.S. and San Diego really care about.
I think the best part about this type of market is that you get your hands-on, you get to have your hands on every aspect of this business. So by the time you do get up to yeah. By the time you do get up to that market, you know, whatever it is, whether it's market number 1, 20, or whatever, and you have all those people waiting on you, you'll be able to understand their jobs a lot better because you've done it too.
I truly love my job. You know, my only complaint would be I don't get paid enough, but other than that, every day is different. You're not trapped in an office. You know, you're in there to edit, but you learn something every day. I think that's one of the beauties of our job, is that every day you find information out, and there's always something interesting. You know, maybe you don't agree with it, but you can see different perspectives and things that are happening in the community and in the world, and you know, to a very minor effect, you can have an effect. You can present the information, and people can make choices as a result of that, and that, you know, that's a commendable thing to be able to do, I think.
Sorry, hi. I know you want to cut our power off.
Yeah, I told you. Here, we need to hit that button one more time.
You want me to hit it?
Yeah, hit it. Turn it off. Thank you.
That's bad.
Yeah, look at him. We had to.
So what do you think?
I told him, I said, do you know who I work for? Well, yeah. Yes, I said, you know what we sell? Well, yes, well, we're gonna cut you off.
He's gonna be, we have 20 customers out, he's gonna be number 21. And he knows where to get the dry ice and water, you think?
I know.
You know the address,
Yes.
right? You were there, okay.
I live over shots up here.
You have already now you've done a lot of interviews. You've already kind of put the story in your head. It's already kind of put.
I kind of see it. Yeah, I kind of already see it from the beginning, how it's gonna proceed, and then my part, we get into the booze angle of our story, and then we're done. Remember, it's a minute and a half, and then you're done. You know? It's not. I mean, it's nothing real complicated or scientific about it. It's just like, you know, we'll see what Mike has. A couple sound bites from people. Obviously, I'll have to translate some of the interviews we have, but that's no biggie. And then we're done, and then we go have lunch. That's the important thing. I always have a good meal. All right, Mike.
Good.
No problem.
Hi, how you doing, sir? Outstanding. How are you? Great to hear. How long?
Yeah, it's number 1 with cheese.
Could I get 2 number 1s with cheese, please?
All right, so it'll be 1785. That's your first one, please.
Thank you.
You know he doesn't
Man,
care. He
way
makes
low.
more than us.
He does make more than us.
So he's like, man,
Oh,
change
hey,
it up as
let's
many
get
times
this
as
on
you
camera.
want.
If I was working here wearing that little hat, I'd make more money than I'm making now, and I'd be working less, and I'd have better benefits.
And you get lunch.
And I get lunch, because it's rare if we eat on the job.
How do I know when I got enough? Shoot wide, shoot medium, shoot close up. If you give yourself 6 shots, probably more likely than not, you've got enough. If it's not a hard and fast rule, but you know, if you've got you just need a variety of shots to cut between. So, and you get a feel for it as time goes by, you know. But you know, there are senior photographers there that I'm shocked. They go out, I'm done. Well, if it's me, I'm shooting another half an hour at least. But a lot of it has to do with how much time you've got. You know, if you're sent out to get a couple of Osites, you can't spend 2 hours on a Osite. It's not responsible, I guess. But it all depends. I think I shot 9 stories one day. That I think might have been a personal record for me. Depends on what's going on.
Rob, how do you survive on $8 an hour?
You have to.
What's the secret you can reveal here?
You just have to be really frugal with your money. You have to be really humble.
What does that mean, frugal with your money? Give me an example.
For example, I mean, you can't be a high roller, you can't be a big baller and go out and drop a couple grand in a club. I mean, there aren't really any really fancy clubs here, but I kind of mentioned earlier what we do. If we go out on Thursdays, install our drinks, you know, so the girls buy the guys the drinks, and we save a lot of money that way. You have to budget all of your money. You have to, like when I first came here, I talked to our news director and said, hey, do you know anybody who wants a roommate? So she hooked me up with Jenny Jones, our sports girl, and my rent's only $375 and hers is $375. But I was able to stop by, go to a property management place, and having the roommate helps out a lot. And you just have to kind of look for bargains and sales, and like when Lennon's and things had their blowout closing sale, everybody was over there, like people from, like Krista was there, and she said she saw a girl from the other station there. So you just have to be really modest the way you live, and you have to budget. I actually have to do a budget. Never done that before, because was this tight with money. And you have to. I mean, we have some people who kind of get in the mentality that they should be driving the fancy cars because they're on TV, and they're deeply in debt. People I don't know, I probably shouldn't name them, but people we work with deeply in debt because they have the nice car. They're making payments on like $400 or more a month, and they're kind of. I mean, I like that attitude of thinking big and dreaming big, but being realistic at this level, that'll happen someday. But right now, I mean, you really have to just be modest with money. You can't be going out every night. I mean, there's ways to have fun with not necessarily going out and spending money. I know it's kind of a cliche thing to say, but here it's true because we all struggle paying our bills. I mean, your rent, electricity, your gas, your food, clothes, everything.
There's also at times where you got to knock on someone's door. Someone who just suffered some sort of a personal loss.
How do you do property? Tell me how you do that.
Child.
How do you handle that?
It's the hardest thing to do. And you go up and the first thing I say is like, look, I'm so sorry to bother you, especially at this time. And I'm here if you feel like talking about what's going on. If you want to get something off your chest, talk to us. And if they say no, thank you, I'll step away. I won't press it. Sometimes we call people and we ask them over the phone, and it's just tough. It's just tough to do. But you got to do it.
So you can do that, or you can just tell people, and this is something you tell me, is just tell them that, hey, this is your chance, like for like a murder case, if there's somebody who is, they lost a loved one, you say, hey, what do you want the community, what do you want the world, the state to know about the loss of your loved one, what would they like, what do you want people to know they might not know about them, or if they didn't know?
Hi, I'm Linda with APS.
I'm Rob.
Okay, you say like, instead of how do you feel? Okay, you say, well, is there any way to describe the last day or two of your life? Or this must just be horrifying on your family. You kind of ask that question without asking how you feel. And then people will open up and they'll tell you how you feel, because at that point they're very emotional, and you stay quiet and you listen. And maybe 1, 2, 3 questions and you move on, because then you start bothering folks. And if you say, look, this will only take 2, 3 minutes of your time, if you start asking 5, 6, 7 questions, you're lying to these folks, and they'll know. You told me this was only 2 minutes. You know, you gotta keep your word. And another thing that kind of helps out when I'm talking to people, when I'll tell them, hey, we're almost done. I just have one more question, and they'll okay. And that people appreciate that kind of stuff. It's a courtesy that you need to extend, because we do this every day, but the people we're talking to, for the most part, don't have a lot of experience with a camera or a microphone. So you got to keep that in mind. And then when I'm done, I always try and say, would you like to add anything? Is there something I didn't ask you that you think it's important or that you want to say? I always try and give people a chance to do that. And sometimes I'll turn to the photogs, and I try to do it often. And it's like, any questions, Mike? Rich, any questions? Because a lot of times they're journalists too. And they know what to ask, because a lot of times they'll be out on their own, and they'll questioning people. So I always try to do that. 2 minds are better than 1.
Okay, here's what we're doing. Like 5 seconds. And it's always going to be lowercase. Those are the directions for the director and the editor. She said, oh yeah, definitely. And this is our character. The lightning was really loud. You could feel the ground rumble. And then, let's see right there. And then, that's our nat pop. Then we gotta explain who's talking. We'll say something like, we say her name is Alejandra. Always start a story with your character.
We started with the guy on the guitar, and Mike will cover that with typical shots of, well, most of us know Mexico as the shops, the donkeys, it's stereotypical, but that's what most people say. So that's why I say that this is the Mexico most people know, the tourist areas. The real Mexico is humble, tucked into valleys and canyons filled with hardworking people. Some of them will tell you they continue to be serenaded with promises. Serenaded, we go back to the music. Then we hear from the first man we talk to. And he talks about how the poor need some help. So then I mentioned one candidate, Manuel Lopez Obrador, has said that he will do everything he can to help the poor. Right now he's in a dead heat with Felipe Calderon, who belongs to the PAN, the same party of President Vicente Fox. So that's kind of stringing things along. And there's that second gentleman we talked to where he says sometimes they promise too much, they don't do what they say. So that's where I'm at. So at this point, I know I got to start getting into the booze band, the drinking stuff. Yeah. So now we got to come up with a line.
So, and what's the trick to tying the sound bites together? I mean, you got your VO has to tie into the.
Just kind of know where you're going. Like I knew I wanted to get to this soundbite where it says sometimes they promise too much, they don't do what they say. So I knew I had to get there somehow. So, but I know since I was talking about the 2 candidates, his soundbite would fit because he's talking about the candidates and how they promise too much and they never deliver. So now I know I got to get to the other part of our story.
So did he already kind of give you a clue to where direction he's going on this thing?
Yeah, he said started off, lead with the Nats and then give me a kind of flavor of Tijuana, which just kind of threw it together. I don't know what the timing is. And I'm cheating in the I'm into iNews, and that's the package. So I know that he's pulled this bite right here.
Oh, so you can watch what he's doing as he types it?
He doesn't know what he is. Yeah, I'm going back every now and again. This is what I do if it gets really tight. And I'm worried I'm not going to make it. I know I'm going to make it today. I got plenty of time, but I'm going to sit here doing nothing, so I figure I'll just throw it together there.
Here's what I'm thinking. Mother Nature gave the Desert Southwest a beating last night, leaving over 1,000 homes without power. Jim, then go to Gabby. KSWT, hold on, I need to put in something else. It may have looked pretty bad, but damn it.
See, I know that his track is, this is the Mexico people know, so if we come in here and this is the Mexico most people know. The tourist areas, the real Mexico is humble, tucked into valleys and canyons filled with hardworking people. Some of them will tell you they continue to be serenaded, with promises. So, actually now that I read that, it should probably be a little bit different from the way I got it.
What? Take me through where you're at, Rob.
All right. Well, right now I gotta call Vic because I don't even know where the tape is for the interview we did. Like I have one of them, but I don't have the other one. So they want me to. So I have to cut it back in like half an hour, and I have to do stuff for Cammy's show on the air, and I have to. The radio was calling because they want. Well, she was supposed to do the radio, but she didn't do it, so it's not gonna get done. But I was supposed to have some sound for the football game tonight on broadcasting, but something happened with the server back there, so I guess they never got it, so I'm just going to have to ad-lib it, which it's fine. Okay. So, right now I'm just trying to find, like, I don't know. Yeah, so he doesn't answer his phone, of course. So this is the wrong interview. And so what we're going to do is, I still have that other one we did with the lady, but...
Well, those are the only two you got.
Yeah, so what is it? This from last night. Because what happens is photographers, they don't tell me where they put stuff, and they leave. And
so what are you missing?
I'm missing the interview we did with the guy at the city hall.
Is that about 40 minutes?
Yeah, I've done it quicker, but it doesn't look that great. But I mean, you got to get to air. For us, if you miss your slot, you got a problem. I've missed my slot twice in 4 years. And, they push you back, but you don't want to miss your slot. The first time I did it was on my first day here, but they put me. You need to turn that off for right now.
Good. How was it?
Come with
me. Let me show you how this works.
I know how it works. If you fix it or not, because I don't have time, man. Let's go.
I did it. Screw you.
I'm gonna have that shot of that car with the sign on it all in there, like. This was for 10-4, right?
I already did them. You take these over here and drag them over here.
That's what I did. I got distracted yesterday.
It didn't work. If they said they didn't get them, if it didn't come out looking like that.
It was here at the news yesterday.
Well, then call them and see if they got them. Is the only thing I know because, I did the 2 mids and the 2 PMs.
Maybe not knowing.
And, if you got the same screen I'm looking at, then we'll see what happened. The difference you need to know about it because it's something else other than us.
Okay, so the pack's more important, so I'm going to have to do that. That isn't a big deal. It's just the high school football game. This is more important because it affects more people, so you have to prioritize what's going on with the time you have. So right now, I can't even deal with that. Like, it's just, there's no time.
I'm assuming that, but it's just too much.
Okay.
It'll be a third person in there, and it'll just confuse viewers. And now, finally, it's almost 5. I can finally go to the bathroom.
Botox called me back. I don't know who this is. Hi, this is Rob.
Yeah.
Hey, what's going on?
Well, it's just
Yeah, I know. I did. The engineer just showed it to me, and he said you were supposed to do this, and I said I did that, and it was in. And I guess something happened with the server, so they had me cutting a pack right now. What's the latest I could get it to you, or it's probably too late now, right? Because I can just ad-lib it.
What do you do? What do you do from this point? Well, now it's up to him to make sure it gets in by our slot time, which is about 5:32. Right now, I'm already working on another project that I've been assigned for next week, so I'm starting to look at that stuff. And then I gotta do something in the set for our Mexico election story, so I'll get ready, and then sometime maybe after 6 I can go home.
Is the usual shift what, 8 to
8:30 till 6:30, roughly. So the photojournalists are on hourly wages. They get overtime. The reporters are salary, so we don't get overtime. But it's okay.
But you love what you do?
Yeah, pretty good. You know, I get home and most of the time I'm in a good mood, and so my wife appreciates that. So it's all right. You know, it's not a bad gig. Not a bad gig.
Cool.
Well, I have a lot of the information on this type of deal I can just say myself, so I'm just looking for stuff like how do people can be prepared for. Well, first I'm going to talk about the free water and free ice, and then I'm going to make sure to hit on both the officials have like all sorts of advice and tips. So this is kind of like people know there was a storm, they know like there's power's probably restored as we speak, so you know it's just kind of like stuff that they know they can.
But explain what you're looking for when you're looking for that nugget. What do you hear?
It's hard. This one, I mean, it's not really a human interest story, so I'm always looking for something that'll affect people directly. See, there's no sound on it again.
Things are going well. Good for the Pond and Calderon. But if the team doesn't have a lot of success, it's time for a change. Good for Lopez Obrador. We'll find out July the 2nd. With photojournalist Hendrix Knowles, Sal Rivera.
Yeah, so we're going to cut this down to the wire, just like broadcast news. I love that movie.
Hey Sal, it's Michael. Can you come in and make sure I got the right bite here? It's just because of my Spanish.
Era una ley que era de 1938, algo así, 40, cuando los carrancistas y villistas pues ya eso ya no existe, ¿verdad? Ya estamos en la democracia, estamos en 2006 y...
Is this when he says Fiona Lane?
Ya no era.
Is that it?
No, I didn't hear.
A sus órdenes.
Al fin de todo se dieron cuenta que era.
Ya no era. Era una...
Was that it?
Era una ley, right there.
Was the what?
Let me play.
Ya no era. Era una ley que era de mí.
Era una ley.
Okay, that's cool. All right, thank you. Well, I wasn't sure if I was in the
Another
right.
reason to learn Spanish. No.
Do you speak Hebrew?
So you get to work with hot girls too, guys. Or, you know, girls can... 250, we can fill that, no problem.
Las curiosidades y todo lo que Tijuana le ofrece al visitante extranjero. A sus órdenes.
Si tú bien sabes que te va...
This is the Mexico most people know, the tourist areas. The real Mexico is humble, tucked into valleys and canyons, filled with hard-working people. Some of them will tell you they continue to be serenaded with promises by the people running for president.
Del amor. Todos quieren nomás llegar al poder.
They all just want to reach the power level. Then they just forget about the poor. That's why the poor in Mexico continue to be poor, making the country poor in many ways.
One candidate, Manuel Lopez Obrador, has said he will do everything in his power to help the poor. Right now, he is in a dead heat with Felipe Calderon, who belongs to the PAN, the same party of President Vicente Fox.
Sometimes they promise too much if they don't do what they say.
On Sunday, we'll know who gets the job for the next 6 years. Used to be on the weekend of an election, no alcohol sales were allowed. Well, it turns out the dry law is no more.
It was a law from 1938 or 1940, when there was a conservative movement. It doesn't exist anymore. Order democracy. It's 2006.
Juan Alvarez is looking forward to having tourists sample the margaritas and other drinks at La Placita to go along with their chips and chiles rellenos. Stores are stocking up on Tecate, Sol, and other beer. In the past, during elections, visitors have stayed away from many areas in Mexico because they knew about the booze ban.
Okay, so now it's super crunch time. Okay, there's a problem here.
Well, now let's go to Rob Hughes to find out what's going on at 5:30. Rob, fun stuff for us tonight?
Always fun stuff, Andy. Hey, you know what, Candy? I actually don't have any sports ability either, so we're in the same boat. But Hey Cammy, coming up at the 5:30 show, we're going to have the official Sunny versus Stinger weigh-in. That's going to be great. Stinger's going to be in the studio. We're going to have the scales. It's going to be awesome. Plus,
And they're only allowed to work 13 hours.
We don't want to have this.
And they're timed out. Because we've had crews working around the clock. So
there we go.
Mother Nature gave the Desert Southwest a beating last night, leaving over 1,000 homes without power.
Yep, with all the wind and rain, things could have been a whole lot worse. KSWT News 13's Rob Hughes has the latest.
Oh yeah, definitely. The lightning was really loud. You could actually feel like the ground rumble.
Alejandro Manjarres wasn't the only resident who Mother Nature woke up last night.
You can feel it shake, and then the lightning, you can just see it come through the windows into the bedrooms and reflect on the mirrors and the doors coming into the bedroom.
The Desert Southwest felt a slight sting last night, but the damage isn't as bad as it first seemed.
Damage, at least in terms of City of Yuma property and things that the city is responsible for, streets, water pipes, things like that, has been minimal to very slight. There was some tree damage, mostly because of the wind. The wind was more of a factor in the damage we found than the rain was.
APS says there are currently 20 residents without power, but there are free services to help them stay cool.
we have made provisions to have dry ice available at our customer office at 128 West 32nd Street and bottled water for any of those customers that were affected. So really, basically, Mother Nature was pretty good to us last night.
But Mother Nature never sleeps, so when she strikes again, make sure that you're ready.
Number one is stay away from power lines. If there's a power line down, let the power professionals handle it.
Officials also say to check your walls and make sure that they're stable and have emergency supplies available. Plus, City of Yuma officials are there to fight Mother Nature and keep you safe.
We've had crews working around the clock, so we've had at least 5 crews out there working around the clock. That doesn't count. We have troublemen, and they're our first responders. They go out and they check and they see what damage is there and see if they can repair it themselves, and then from there they send the crews out. So our guys have worked pretty darn hard, and I think they've done an exceptional job.
Well, a quick note here. APS officials say power to most customers should be on.